Comment where you're watching from today. In the affluent suburbs of Cincinnati, where pristine lawns and luxury cars were as common as morning dew, Justin Hernandez had everything a teenager could want, except gratitude. His grandmother, Susan Kramer, lived just across town in a modest apartment complex that Justin refused to visit, claiming it was beneath his standards. Life had been different for Justin since his father, Adam Perez DDS, had struck success with his high-end dental practice. The family's sudden wealth transformed their lifestyle, but it also transformed Justin's perspective on what and who mattered in life. His mother, Amanda Martinez, tried to instill humility in her son, but the allure of luxury proved too strong. Susan Kramer worked 2 jobs at her age, as a morning shift cashier at the local grocery store and an evening receptionist at a small clinic. Her arthritis was getting worse, but medical bills didn't pay themselves. She never complained, though her daughter Amanda worried constantly about her mother's deteriorating health. One particularly cold autumn morning, Susan's car wouldn't start. She called Amanda in desperation, knowing she couldn't afford to miss a shift. Amanda was stuck in an important meeting, and Justin was the only one available to help. What happened next would catch the attention of Vance, who was visiting Cincinnati for a community outreach program. "I'm not driving to that neighborhood," Justin told his mother over the phone, lounging in their home theater room. "Can't she just call an Uber?" His voice dripped with disdain, unaware that someone important was about to witness his behavior. Richard Wright, Susan's neighbor and a community organizer, had invited Vance to their neighborhood that morning to discuss local initiatives. As they walked past Susan's apartment, they witnessed the elderly woman struggling with her car, her hands shaking from both cold and arthritis. Kelly Olson, another neighbor, approached Susan with concern. "Your grandson still won't help?" she asked softly, having heard the phone conversation through Susan's open car window. Susan just smiled weakly, her dignity intact despite her circumstance. Vance, who had built his career on understanding and addressing social dynamics in communities, observed the situation with growing interest. He recognized in Justin's behavior a broader pattern he'd seen throughout his work, the way sudden wealth could create dangerous disconnections within families. Zachary Johnson, Justin's best friend and fellow child of privilege, pulled up in his new sports car, honking at Justin. To come out, they had plans to go to the mall. As Justin stepped out of his house, dressed in designer clothes that probably cost more than his grandmother's monthly rent, he froze at the sight of an unexpected visitor. Pamela Brooks, his mother's colleague, had stopped by to drop off some documents. She'd overheard Justin's phone conversation and decided to take a stand. "Your grandmother raised your mother while working 3 jobs, she said, her voice carrying across the manicured lawn. "She went hungry some nights so your mother could eat." Justin's face flushed red, but not from shame, from anger at being confronted. Alexander Hicks, the family's longtime gardener, shook his head sadly as he trimmed the hedges. He remembered when the Hernandez family first moved to the neighborhood, before the money, when they understood the value of family. Vance decided it was time to intervene. He had seen enough. After ensuring Susan had immediate help, Richard Wright offered to drive her to work. Vance made a few phone calls. One was to Carolyn Lee, the director of a local youth program he'd helped establish. Another was to Justin's father. By the time Justin and Zachary were about to leave for the mall, they found their path blocked by several cars. Local community leaders had arrived, responding to Vance's calls. Among them was Dwayne Meyer, a successful businessman who had grown up in Susan's neighborhood and never forgotten his roots. "Your grandmother," Vance said, approaching Justin, "reminds me of my own family's story." His voice carried the weight of authenticity that came from personal experience. When I was writing Hillbilly Elegy, I met countless women like her, the silent pillars holding up entire families through sheer will and hard work. Justin shifted uncomfortably, but for the first time that day, he actually listened. Katie Simmons, a local journalist who had arrived with the group, started taking notes. This wasn't just about one teenager and his grandmother anymore. It was about a community coming together to address a growing disconnect between generations. Amanda Wagner, who worked with Susan at the grocery store, stepped forward to share stories about his grandmother that Justin had never heard. How Susan would sometimes buy food for struggling customers out of her own pocket. How she'd work extra hours during the holidays so younger co-workers could spend time with their families. The gathering attracted more attention. Raven Vasquez, a community youth counselor, arrived with several teenagers from her program. These kids, despite having far less than Justin, regularly volunteered to help elderly neighbors with errands and home repairs. Heidi Maldonado, one of Susan's regular customers at the grocery store, shared how his grandmother had helped her family during a difficult time, offering both emotional support and practical assistance. "She never mentioned this to anyone," Heidi said, "because that's not who she is. She helps because it's right, not for recognition." As the stories continued, Justin's defensive posture began to crack. Tristan Webster, a successful local business owner who had grown up poor, spoke about how his own grandmother's sacrifices had enabled his success. "But I never forgot where I came from," he said, looking directly at Justin. "Wealth without gratitude is poverty of the soul." Anthony Myers, another community leader, suggested a solution. He proposed a youth program where teenagers from privileged backgrounds would work alongside those from modest means, learning from each other while serving the community. Vance immediately endorsed the idea, seeing it as a practical way to bridge the growing divide. Frank Riley, a retired teacher who had taught both Justin's mother and grandmother, recalled how Susan had attended every parent-teacher conference, even after working double shifts. "She would fall asleep sometimes during our meetings," he remembered, "but she never missed one." That's the kind of dedication that built the foundation you're standing on today. The morning that had started with a broken-down car was transforming into something much more significant. Joshua Bryant, a local pastor, offered his church as a meeting place for the new youth program. Brian Cooper, who ran a successful auto repair shop, volunteered to teach basic car maintenance to the participants. As the community continued to rally, Justin stood silent, the weight of his behavior finally sinking in. His friend Zachary had long since driven away, but Justin remained, listening to story after story about the grandmother he had dismissed so easily. Kathleen Watson, an elderly neighbor who had known Susan for decades, finally approached Justin with a photo album. In it were pictures of Susan holding him as a baby, watching over him while his parents worked, cooking his favorite meals, even when she was exhausted from her own work. The morning's events had created a ripple effect throughout the community. Joseph Michael, a local business owner, pledged to hire participants from the youth program for summer internships. Megan Wall, a social worker, offered to coordinate regular assistance for elderly residents who needed help. J.D. Vance observed all this with satisfaction, seeing how a single incident could catalyze positive change when a community came together. But he knew the real test would be what happened next, particularly with Justin. As the crowd began to disperse, Justin finally spoke. His voice was different now, stripped of its previous arrogance. He asked J.D. Vance if he could be part of the solution instead of the problem. The answer was yes, but with conditions. Justin would need to demonstrate genuine change, starting with his grandmother. By the time Susan returned from her shift that evening, she found her car repaired, her apartment cleaned, and her grandson waiting with a home-cooked meal. skills he'd learned that very day from community members who had stayed to help him prepare this gesture of reconciliation. This was just the beginning of a longer journey. But as J.D. Vance would later write, it was a powerful reminder that change often starts with a single moment of realization, supported by a community that refuses to give up on its members, even the ones who seem to have lost their way. What would you do if you saw someone treating their elderly relatives this way? Let us know in the comments below. The transformation in Justin Hernandez's life didn't happen overnight. In the weeks following that pivotal morning, J.D. Vance's influence had sparked a movement that spread beyond their initial confrontation. The community program, now officially named Bridges, took root at Sean Fitzpatrick's Community Center, where teenagers from different backgrounds came together 3 times a week. William Baker, the local high school principal, had integrated the program into the school's community service curriculum, ensuring its sustainability. Justin found himself working alongside Angela Scott, a student from the other side of town, whose grandmother lived in the same apartment complex as Susan Kramer. Tyler Nguyen, one of the program's first volunteers, became Justin's mentor. Despite coming from a wealthy family himself, Tyler had maintained strong connections with his roots, regularly helping at his family's small restaurant in the old neighborhood. His guidance helped Justin navigate the uncomfortable process of acknowledging his privileged blindness. The program's first major project focused on Karen Garcia's apartment building, where several elderly residents struggled with basic maintenance. Nicholas Scott, a skilled handyman who had known Susan for years, taught the teenagers basic repair skills. Justin discovered he had a natural talent for fixing things, something he had never explored in his previous life of luxury. Justin Kruger, another spoiled teen who had initially joined the program just to improve his college applications, found himself genuinely transformed by the experience. Together with Justin Hernandez, they formed a small team dedicated to helping elderly residents with technology issues, teaching them how to use smartphones and computers to connect with family members. Alyssa Brown, a social media influencer from their school, started documenting their work. Her post caught the attention of Elizabeth Murphy, a local news producer, who saw an opportunity to highlight positive youth initiatives in the community. Dr. Paul Miller, a respected community leader, offered his clinic's resources to support health screenings for elderly residents. Angela Carpenter's grandmother, Kelly Hubbard, became a regular presence at their meetings, sharing stories about the neighborhood's history and teaching the teens traditional cooking recipes. Sean Morris, who had initially been skeptical of the program, became one of its strongest advocates after seeing how it helped his own relationship with his aging parents. Lindsay Hill, a former classmate of Justin's who had always found his attitude repulsive, noticed the genuine change in him. She joined the program as a coordinator, helping Deanna Nelson organize the growing number of volunteers. Sean Lowe, a retired veteran, brought military discipline and organization to their efforts. Brian Cortez contributed his tech expertise, creating a mobile app that helped coordinate assistance requests from elderly residents. Carla Thomas, whose grandmother had passed away before she could make amends for similar behavior, found healing through helping others' grandparents. Nicole Robinson's photography skills captured powerful moments of connection between the generations. Jennifer Jones documented these stories, creating a blog that attracted attention from other communities facing similar issues. John Riley, a local businessman, provided funding for expanding the program. Jason Kelly's construction company donated materials for home repairs, while Cody Yang's family restaurant ensured no elderly resident went hungry. Shelby Adams coordinated meal deliveries, creating a sustainable system that would last beyond the initial enthusiasm. Karen Gomez, a skeptical parent who had questioned the program's value, became one of its strongest supporters after seeing the change in her own son. Michael Reyes, a former troublemaker, found purpose in helping Andrea Flores's grandmother with her garden. Kimberly Perkins, a counselor at the local senior center, noted significant improvements in the mental health of elderly residents who participated in the program. Jennifer Wise helped document these positive changes, creating evidence that would later help secure government funding. Mr. James Moore, DDS, impressed by the initiative's impact, offered free dental services to elderly residents who couldn't afford care. Christopher Roth organized transportation for these appointments, ensuring no one missed out due to mobility issues. Michaela Lucas, who had grown up in foster care, found surrogate grandparents through the program. Lauren Lozano's elderly neighbor, who had been considering moving to a nursing home, found enough support through the program to maintain her independence. Eric Patrick and Howard Rangel, both successful businessmen, created a scholarship fund for program participants who demonstrated exceptional commitment to community service. Joyce Hayes, a retired teacher, volunteered to tutor students who needed academic support while participating in the program. Susan Graham watched with pride as her grandson, once so disconnected from his community, became a leader among his peers. Brandy Myers organized regular celebrations where teens and elderly residents could socialize, breaking down age barriers that had divided the community. Patricia Cordova's cooking classes became a highlight of the program, teaching teens traditional recipes while sharing stories about their cultural heritage. Michael Aguilar's tech workshops helped elderly residents stay connected with family members living far away. Karen Spencer, who had initially dismissed the program as naive idealism, became one of its most vocal supporters after seeing its impact on her mother's quality of life. Nicholas Forbes documented the program's success metrics, creating reports that would later help other communities replicate their model. Janet Taylor's grant writing skills secured additional funding, allowing them to expand their services. Michelle Rivera coordinated with local businesses to create job opportunities for program participants who showed exceptional responsibility and dedication. Jason Sexton's legal expertise helped formalize the program's structure, while Ashley Leon ensured all activities met safety and liability requirements. James Evans created training materials that would help other communities start similar initiatives. Amanda Delgado's social work background helped identify elderly residents most in need of assistance. Samantha Bradshaw coordinated with local healthcare providers to ensure medical needs were being met alongside practical help. Crystal Hernandez, no relation to Justin, brought her experience in youth counseling to help teens process the emotional impact of their work. Tamara Richmond's organizational skills kept the growing program running smoothly. As the second month of the program concluded, J.D. Vance returned to check on their progress. He found a community transformed, with Justin Hernandez leading by example. The spoiled teen, who had once refused to help his grandmother, now spent his weekends organizing assistance for elderly residents throughout the neighborhood. Jessica Grant, a journalist from a national newspaper, arrived to document their success story. Ryan Cooper filmed a documentary about the program, capturing moments that would inspire other communities to launch similar initiatives. Matthew Martin's data analysis showed a significant decrease in elderly isolation and an increase in cross-generational understanding. Shelby Fitzgerald, whose own grandmother had recently moved in with her family, credited the program with giving her the tools to handle this transition. Has your community ever come together to bridge generational gaps? Share your experiences in the comments below. The ripple effects of the Bridges program continued to expand, touching lives far beyond its original scope. Lindsay Mathis, MD, impressed by the program's impact on elderly patients' mental health, began incorporating youth volunteers into her geriatric practice. Justin Casey, once known for his indifference to community service, now led weekly health and wellness workshops for seniors. Diane Fields watched in amazement as her own grandson, once glued to his gaming console, began spending weekends helping. Miss Stephanie Vincent with her garden. Susan Lamb, a retired nurse, provided valuable guidance to the teens about basic health monitoring for their elderly neighbors. Daniel Butler's technological expertise proved invaluable as they developed a user-friendly system for matching volunteers with seniors in need. Karen Taylor, who had initially doubted the program's sustainability, became one of its most dedicated supporters after seeing its impact on her mother's life. Walter Franklin, a local historian, began documenting the stories shared between generations during their weekly meetings. Linda Guerra's photography captured touching moments of connection that would later become part of a traveling exhibition about bridging generational divides. Cheryl Haney coordinated with Sean Cummings Jr. to establish a transportation network, ensuring elderly residents could attend medical appointments and social events. Vanessa Brandt's marketing skills helped spread awareness about the program throughout the state. Patrick Henderson, whose own grandmother had passed away before he could make amends for his teenage attitude, found healing through mentoring younger participants. Colton Harmon's tech repair workshops helped seniors maintain independence through better understanding of their devices. Jesus Taylor organized musical performances where teens and seniors could share their favorite songs, creating unexpected connections through different genres and eras. Jacqueline Williams documented these events, creating a podcast that captured the program's spirit. Mrs. Anna Harrell, once skeptical of teenage volunteers, became one of their strongest advocates after receiving help with her weekly errands. Philip Zimmerman's construction company provided materials and expertise for home modifications that helped seniors age in place safely. Tammy Kemp's social work background helped identify seniors most in need of assistance, while Sidney Juarez coordinated volunteer schedules to ensure consistent support. Ian McKnight's legal expertise helped protect both volunteers and seniors as the program expanded. Adam Wilson, a former critic of youth initiatives, admitted he had underestimated teenagers' capacity for empathy and dedication. Margaret James's research on intergenerational programs helped secure additional funding through demonstrating measurable positive outcomes. Samantha Wiggins coordinated with Nicole Kennedy to establish a meal delivery service, ensuring no senior in their community went hungry. Johnny Hart's restaurant provided weekly community dinners where teens and seniors could socialize while sharing meals. Kathleen Cole's experience in event planning helped create memorable celebrations that brought the community together. Joseph Thomas organized home repair workshops where seniors could pass on valuable skills to younger generations. Carmen Bates noticed improved academic performance among student volunteers, while Connie Savage documented these unexpected benefits. For future grant applications, Grace Williams's counseling services helped both teens and seniors process emotional challenges. Brandon Pacheco's videography skills captured touching moments that would later become part of a documentary about the program's impact. John Skinner's expertise in senior care helped ensure volunteers understood proper safety protocols. Katie Jimenez coordinated with Catherine LeBlanc to establish a mentorship program pairing business-minded teens with retired executives. Tommy Brown's transportation company provided crucial support for program activities. Thomas Ferguson's data analysis revealed significant improvements in seniors' mental health and social connection. Jason Anderson, PhD, conducted formal research, documenting the program's benefits for both age groups. Ruth Gould's experience in non-profit management helped structure the program for long-term sustainability. Abigail Freeman coordinated with David Litu create training materials for new volunteers. Pamela Robinson worked with Mr. Timothy Jackson, MD, to ensure proper medical oversight of volunteer activities. Adam Lang's technology company developed custom software to streamline program operations. Hannah Newman's social media expertise helped attract younger volunteers, while Angelica Taylor coordinated with Christina Cobb to organize intergenerational art classes. These creative sessions often revealed surprising talents in both teens and seniors. Stephanie Anderson's grant writing secured funding for program expansion, while Susan Paul helped establish similar initiatives in neighboring communities. Catherine Walker's experience in senior advocacy helped ensure the program met real needs rather than assumed ones. Stephen Davis coordinated with Michael Walter to create a documentary series about the program's impact. Seth Duncan's marketing agency provided pro bono services to increase visibility and attract support. Sarah Arnold's research on loneliness in elderly populations helped guide program development, while Richard Hunt's security company ensured all activities maintained proper safety protocols. Angela Stafford coordinated background checks for volunteers working with vulnerable seniors. April Barnes noticed improved behavior among teenage participants, while Peggy Gonzalez documented these changes for educational purposes. Daniel Simmons's expertise in program evaluation helped measure and demonstrate impact. Teresa Kirk coordinated with David Walker to establish emergency response protocols for senior participants. Jeffrey Orozco's construction company provided free home safety assessments for elderly residents. Rachel Scott's experience in youth development helped ensure the program remained engaging for teenage volunteers. Denise Reyes coordinated with Karen Moore to organize cultural exchange events, celebrating diversity across generations. Arthur Banks provided financial literacy workshops for both teens and seniors, while Danielle Bautista coordinated with Jamie Jordan to establish a savings program for program expenses. Deborah Harris's legal expertise helped navigate liability concerns as the program grew. Jason Patterson's technology workshops helped seniors stay connected with distant family members. Nathan Adams coordinated with Kristen Lopez to establish regular check-in protocols for elderly participants. Deanna King's experience in community organizing helped expand the program's reach, while Keith McKenzie coordinated with Adrian Sanders to establish satellite locations throughout the city. Donald Smith's transportation network ensured accessibility for all participants. Shannon Ramirez noticed improved family relationships among participating teens, while Peggy Flores documented these positive changes for future program development. Ashley Howell coordinated with Mary Serrano to organize regular community celebrations. Dawn Shepherd's expertise in senior care helped train new volunteers, while Christina Fox coordinated with Corey Franklin to establish emergency response protocols. Brianna Schneider's experience in program management helped ensure smooth daily operations. Brian Tanner coordinated with Scott Johnson to create a sustainable funding model for long-term program operation. Austin Jackson's technology company provided tablets and training for senior participants. Rhonda Bailey's counseling services helped address emotional challenges that arose during program activities. Jay Fry coordinated with Stephen McLean to establish regular program evaluation protocols. Sarah Stout's research on intergenerational learning helped guide curriculum development, while Tina Arnold coordinated with Nicole Francis to document program outcomes. Emily Carter's expertise in senior wellness helped ensure activities promoted healthy aging. Travis Wallace noticed improved academic performance among teen volunteers, while Brian Patterson coordinated with Sandra Alexander to establish tutoring services as an additional program component. Anthony Carter's experience in youth mentoring helped guide program development. Summer Anderson's expertise in program evaluation helped demonstrate the initiative's impact, while Evan Wilson coordinated with Robert Mitchell to secure additional funding sources. The program had grown far beyond its original scope, touching hundreds of lives in unexpected ways. Have you witnessed the power of intergenerational connections in your own community? Share your stories in the comments below. As the Bridges program approached its first anniversary, J.D. Vance returned to Cincinnati to witness its remarkable evolution. The transformation of Justin Hernandez had inspired Stephen Foster to create a documentary titled Generations Connected, capturing the program's journey and its profound impact on the community. Jonathan Gill coordinated with Mario Davila to organize a celebration that would bring together all program participants. Mary Smith, who had initially doubted the program's viability, now led its expansion committee. Anthony Tucker worked alongside Megan Johnston to document success stories that would help secure nationwide implementation. John Joseph, once skeptical of working with teenagers, became one of the program's strongest advocates. Curtis Vega coordinated with Courtney Riley to establish a mentorship framework that would become a model for other communities. Charles Phillips developed evaluation metrics that demonstrated the program's measurable impact on both age groups. Cody Shelton's tech expertise helped create a digital platform connecting elderly residents with teenage volunteers. Daniel Tran coordinated with Craig Sexton, MD, to ensure all activities aligned with healthcare best practices. Heather McCoy's counseling background helped address emotional challenges that arose during intergenerational interactions. Susan Hansen worked with Tammy Schaffer to develop training materials for new program locations. Alan Johnson's business, Acumen, helped create a sustainable financial model, while Daniel Bradford coordinated with Brian Hess to establish quality control measures. Shannon Weaver noticed improved mental health outcomes among elderly participants. David O'Neill coordinated with Gabriel Duncan to create emergency response protocols that made everyone feel secure. Joshua Carpenter's construction company continued providing free home safety modifications for senior participants. Robert Graham's research on social isolation helped guide program development. Beth Carpenter coordinated with Amber Washington to establish cultural competency training for all volunteers. Anthony Morrison's experience in community organizing helped expand the program's reach. Michael Stokes worked with David Smith to create a comprehensive volunteer management system. Kelly Scott coordinated with Christian Moore to ensure program activities remained engaging and meaningful for all participants. Emily Anderson's expertise in gerontology helped shape the program's approach to aging issues. Heather Martin noticed improved family dynamics among participating teenagers. Amber Watson coordinated with Douglas Myers to establish regular program evaluations. Carrie Gillespie's experience in nonprofit management helped ensure sustainable growth. Brandy Walker worked with Alan Baker to create intergenerational learning opportunities. Anita Brown coordinated with Sarah Scott to document the program's impact on academic performance. Daniel Martin's expertise in youth development helped guide program expansion. Ashley Adams noticed reduced instances of ageism in the community. Vanessa Evans coordinated with Katie Leach to establish mental health support services for all participants. Jennifer Kelly's research on intergenerational trauma helped inform program practices. Tristan Kemp worked with Darlene Lutz to create conflict resolution protocols. Brandon Wood coordinated with Cynthia Aguilar to establish cultural exchange programs. Jason Martin's experience in community building helped strengthen program foundations. Sarah Ortiz noticed improved empathy among teenage participants. Jerry Harris coordinated with Michelle Lewis to establish regular feedback mechanisms. Adrian Washington's expertise in program evaluation helped demonstrate measurable outcomes. Ashley Ramirez worked with Misty Jackson to create engaging activities that brought generations together. Kyle Burton coordinated with James Jones to establish transportation services, ensuring program accessibility. Scott Shaw's experience in senior care helped guide volunteer training. Alexander Robinson noticed improved cognitive function among elderly participants. Elizabeth Thornton coordinated with Elaine Horn to establish art therapy programs. Hannah Turner's expertise in youth counseling helped address behavioral challenges. Michael Berger worked with Kelsey Stout to create comprehensive training materials. Lisa Ritter coordinated with Sean Cortez to establish regular community celebrations. Brian Baker's experience in program management helped ensure smooth operations. Cameron Nelson noticed improved social connections among isolated seniors. Michael Rhodes coordinated with Jim Smith to establish home repair services. Kayla Carpenter's expertise in social work helped guide intervention strategies. Michelle Brown worked with Joshua Taylor to create documentation protocols. Kim Webb coordinated with Christopher Johnson to establish quality assurance measures. Julie Blankenship's experience in community organizing helped expand program reach. Ashley Maldonado noticed improved academic performance among participating students. Susan Gentry coordinated with Laura Brown to establish mentorship guidelines. Samantha Patrick's expertise in program development helped guide expansion efforts. The program's success had exceeded everyone's expectations. Justin Hernandez, once the poster child for entitled youth, now led workshops teaching other teenagers about the importance of intergenerational connections. His grandmother, Susan Kramer, became a beloved figure in the program, sharing wisdom and stories that bridged generational gaps. J.D. Vance's initial intervention had sparked a movement that transformed not just one family, but an entire community. The Bridges program became a model for other cities, looking to address both youth entitlement and elderly isolation. The spoiled teen who had once refused to help his grandmother now spoke at national conferences about the importance of maintaining family connections across generations. William Mitchell, a renowned sociologist studying the program's impact, documented significant improvements in both youth behavior and elderly well-being. His research showed reduced instances of depression among senior participants and improved empathy scores among teenage volunteers. The program's success attracted attention from national media outlets. Brittany Ramirez, DVM, contributed her expertise to establish therapy animal visits that brought additional joy to elderly participants. Samuel Smith coordinated with David Campbell to create training materials for other communities interested in replicating the program. Charles Miller worked with Cameron Lang to establish data collection protocols that would help secure continued funding. Jacob Buck coordinated with David Ball to create emergency response procedures that ensured participant safety. Connie King's experience in program evaluation helped demonstrate long-term impact. Douglas Holland noticed improved mental health outcomes among all participants. Andrea Garcia coordinated with David Hahn to establish regular program assessments. Teresa McDaniel's expertise in community development helped guide expansion efforts. The program's first anniversary celebration became a testament to its success. Hundreds of participants, both young and old, gathered to share stories and celebrate their connections. The event, coordinated by William Trujillo and Heidi Anderson, showcased the power of intergenerational understanding Alexandria Fletcher worked with Jennifer Johnson to document the program's journey. Robert Murphy coordinated with Scott Jackson to establish sustainability measures. Jeffrey Howard's experience in community building helped strengthen program foundations. As J.D. Vance observed the celebration, he reflected on how a single intervention could create such profound change. The program had not just transformed Justin Hernandez, it had revolutionized how their community approached both youth development and elder care. Patricia Perez noticed improved family relationships among participants. Jessica Baxter coordinated with Christopher Stewart to establish long-term planning protocols. Rachel Morris's expertise in program management helped ensure continued success. The program's impact extended beyond its immediate participants. It had created a model for addressing entitlement and isolation simultaneously, proving that when generations connect, everyone benefits. Justin's journey from spoiled teen to community leader became a powerful testament to the possibility of change. Have you seen similar transformations in your community? Share your experiences in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe for more inspiring stories of real change.